Okay, so get this. Today's deep dive, we're going to be talking about biocomputing,
Hmm.
where the future of processing power, get this, might actually be alive.
Yeah. Using actual human brain cells.
Whoa.
It's pretty out there. Specifically, we're talking about clusters called organoids to power computer processors.
What?
It's a big jump from, those silicon chips we're all used to.
It's wild. So we've got articles from, let's see, Tom's Hardware, Princeton University Press, Science Alert, and Futurism. They're all, buzzing about this company Final Spark that's built a platform using this neural platform, they call it. Get this, they're renting out time on these, get this, living computers
Yeah.
for $500 a month.
It really shows you how fast this tech is moving, though. For the most part, it's researchers using it, but the fact that they're renting it out already, that says something.
Yeah.
We could be on the edge of something really big here.
So how does it actually work?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of straightforward when you get down to it. Imagine this. You've got these tiny clusters of human brain cells grown in a lab, and they're placed on these special dishes, kept alive with a nutrient bath, and then we connect them to electrodes.
So it's like a high-tech petri dish.
Exactly. And those electrodes, those are key. That's how we talk to the organoids, so to speak. We send them electrical signals and watch how they respond. That interface, that's how the neurons do the computations.
And this is where it gets crazy. I read, these brain organoid processors, they could be up to 1 million times more energy efficient than our silicon chips. 1 million.
It's a huge difference. Just think of the energy we use just to train one large AI model like GPT-3, which, by the way, uses deep learning to generate text, like what we use every day. Training it just once takes as much energy as a person in Europe uses in a year.
Oh, wow.
Our brains, on the other hand, can do incredibly complex things using basically the same amount of energy as a light bulb.
Really?
12 watts, if we can even start to copy that with computers. Huge implications.
So you're talking about a revolution in, everything. How we power our phones, the carbon footprint of those big data centers. Imagine if we weren't held back by battery life or these massive server farms sucking up energy.
Exactly. And it's not just about saving energy. This could change AI itself. We're talking systems based on the actual structure and function of the human brain.
Yeah.
This could change how we process information, learn, even how we understand consciousness itself.
Okay, now that is where things get really interesting, but also kind of creepy. Right? We're talking about actual human brain cells here. They're tiny and they don't have, thoughts or feelings or whatever.
Yep.
But it still brings up some ethical stuff,
Absolutely. We have to address that. Some scientists are saying we shouldn't compare brains and computers so directly. They say we need to consider emergent properties, right?
Emergent properties. What's that?
Okay, so think of a flock of birds, right? One bird by itself, that's cool. But when you've got thousands, you get those crazy patterns, behaviors just from them all moving together. It's more than just adding up the birds,
So you're saying just because we can build something kind of like a brain doesn't mean we get how it makes consciousness or even just complex thought.
Exactly. The human brain is incredibly complex. It can do things our best AI can't even touch. So yeah, this biocomputing stuff is exciting, but we got to be careful about saying we're replicating human intelligence.
Right. We're not at the brains in jars stage.
Not even close.
But even so, using actual human tissue, even at this scale, that's got to come with some heavy stuff ethically, right?
For sure. Lots of questions there. One article mentioned this U.S. project. They used a biocomputer, kind of like Final Sparks, and got it to recognize speech patterns. That's a big deal.
Whoa, that's wild. Where could this go, really? What kind of real-world uses are we talking?
Honestly, the possibilities are really exciting. Imagine biocomputers controlling prosthetic limbs.
What?
But so precise, so nuanced that movement's totally natural for amputees. Or think about them in medical devices, constantly monitoring, responding to your body in real time. Super personalized healthcare.
Like something out of a futuristic medical show. But as cool as this all sounds, we're not all going to ditch our laptops for biocomputers next week, right?
Not quite yet. Right now, Final Sparks thing, the Neuro platform, it's more of a research tool, really powerful one. Scientists can experiment, get the data to make those breakthroughs we're talking about happen.
So it's more about getting ready for a future where biocomputing is normal.
Yeah, exactly. And that future might be closer than we think. As research goes on these biocomputers, they'll get more powerful, sophisticated, maybe even, easier to get a hold of.
So we've talked about the why of biocomputing, the whole energy efficiency thing, how much more advanced it could be, and the how using these living brain cells. But the big question I have is, Like, what's it all mean? Where's this all going in the grand scheme of things?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
Practically speaking, this could change computing as we know it, longer-lasting batteries, data centers using way less energy, AI advancements that could change everything.
And the potential for, like, breakthroughs in medicine and a deeper understanding of, the human brain itself.
Absolutely.
But then there's the bigger picture.
Hmm.
If we make machines that mimic our minds, does that change how we see ourselves as humans?
That's a big one. And it's one we got to start thinking about now as a society. The future of computing, it might be closer than we think, and as you've seen, it could be quite literally alive.
It's kind of mind-blowing,
Uh-huh.
We could be right on the edge of something that changes how we think about consciousness altogether
Yeah.
and what it even means to be alive.
It's huge, yeah. And even though those questions about consciousness, they're still kind of out there, there's other stuff to think about, stuff that's more immediate as this tech gets better.
Right, that makes sense.
Mhm.
I mean, as these biocomputers get more complex, more powerful, those implications, those are only going to get bigger, right?
Exactly. We're talking about systems that could learn better, adapt, even evolve. That's when things get really interesting. What if a biocomputer starts doing stuff we didn't program it to do? Stuff that looks like awareness, even sentience.
Whoa. Okay, now we're getting into some serious sci-fi territory. It's like those movies where the AI wakes up.
It's important to remember we're talking what-ifs here, not guarantees. This is still early days for this tech. But the questions are there, and we got to think about them as a society as things move forward.
So where does that leave us? What's the takeaway for our listeners, who I'm sure are just as blown away by all this as we are?
I think the big thing is we're seeing a whole new era of computing, where biology and technology, they're not separate anymore. This could change, well, everything, really, from the stuff we use every day to how we see the world.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. But it sounds like the future of computing, it's closer than we think. And if this deep dive has shown us anything, it's that the future, well, it might just be more alive than we ever imagined.